Hey, what's up, y'all? Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and yeah, we got a little bit of a later edition of Pocket Change Market Report. This one for July 11th, 2021. I hope each and every single one of you is doing well and staying cool out there. The U.S. is mired in a little bit of a heat wave, and I could honestly say that the coin market continues to stay as hot as the weather out there. Just a little quick PSA. Yeah, my PCMR pocket change reports have been going out a little bit later. I've been actually taking a few weekends off to do some family vacationing things. This weekend that you're seeing this pocket change market report is the final one for a while. And so we'll be back to our kind of like regularly scheduled drop times, which are normally Saturdays, like in the morning, early afternoon. For this report, we'll still have the Monday market version where we talk about modern graded coins. That'll always pop up either Sunday night, well, not tonight because I'm doing this one, but it'll also be uploaded by Monday at some point. Usually in the morning is when I like to launch it out there, but we are going to go ahead and jump in, and I was not going to do one just to kind of skip this one for this week, but I figure I owe you guys one for being, so good to me and, checking out all my videos, whether it's this one or maybe going back to some of my older fare. So still getting all tons of comments on all the other videos, and I'm trying to go through them the best that I can for you. But hey, why not? We'll go ahead and do another one. This one's a little bit abbreviated. We don't have like 30, 40 coins to talk about. We actually got 25. Pretty spectacular considering that, for the first time in the PCMR history, we have 5, 6, or 7 or so listings in which people have sold full lots. I like talking about these because these pose an opportunity for people that like to flip on eBay to make some extra money by recognizing good deals on these bigger lots. So I can't wait to show those to you. But aside from that, market is still going pretty strong, unexpectedly considering that we are in the middle of summer, and most people that are interested in these type of things, normally they take the month off or they take 2 months off, and they go in vacation and do summer things as a lot of us like to do. But yeah, you'll come to find out as we go through the coins, the short list of coins for this week, that the usuals are still selling relatively strong out there. So what is it that is selling? Let's go ahead and take a look at the first one here, which is kind of a unique looking coin. It's a 1984 Lincoln Memorial Cent that exhibits on the obverse a number of little cuts. You can see that right here. Even covers the word in and God to a little bit here. Not quite a godless cent, which is where the namesake comes from a full cud that covers the word God. But this one right here, I don't know if this one's attributed on Cuds on Coins website, but this one is pretty neat. It is small, and judging from the actual condition of the coin, it looks like it's circulated quite a while before it was discovered, but this is a really neat piece right here. Philadelphia struck. The coin is a net graded like AU condition type grade, a little bit of mint red on the reverse in the protected areas. This one right here is sold for $15.44, which is, the money is okay considering that the cut is what I think to be size-wise on the minor side. All right, we have a couple pieces of currency on the list. The first one is this $5 Federal Reserve note. It's a much older design. It's got the small head, 1950A. So yeah, quite a bit older. I would say it's probably a note that you don't see in circulation that much, but this one is a pretty nice error. As you can see here on the front face of the note, you have an offset wet ink transfer back to front on this one. It's a partial and it's a very small, slim piece, but still, it is a wet ink transfer. This one right here sold for $36.95, and that usually is kind of like the minimum pricing rate for errors of this type with this small of a wet ink transfer. So just to let you guys know, still has some value. The note has seen plenty of circulation. As you can see, it's more apparent on the back. It does have a quarter fold, one right down the middle, longwise and up and down. So yeah, nothing fancy. It's just, a note with a nice little error on it. Again, $37 is what this one sold for. The next one that we have here is a 1906 Indian head set. Looks to be in decent shape. I would say it's probably like an XF40 grade-wise, but, this one has a really small curved clip. I would say curved clips can be valuable on Indian head sets depending on size and strength. But this one right here, it doesn't add a whole heck of a lot of value, but it does add enough to make it worth your while to pull it out of your lot of Indian head cents. Or if you did see one at the coin shop, make sure you just don't overpay for something like this. Because of how minor it is, and it's on an obsolete type coin, this one sold for $14.24. And I haven't brought it up, and I should have, but the Pocket Change Market Report are coins that have either been found in circulation at one point, whether it's searching through Pocket Change or coin roll hunting, or these are coins that can be cherry-picked from a coin shop or show. All right, so let's say you don't want to send it off to grading because sometimes that just doesn't make sense. No pun intended. You could go ahead and either add it to your collection if you don't have one and you collect that sort of thing, or you could sell them raw on eBay and make some pretty good money in the process. You'd be surprised there's a lot of minor errors and varieties that sell in that $10 to $20 range. All right, so keep that and take that into consideration as you're pursuing some of these coins, and they will pop up when you least expect them. That's the good news. Here is a just absolute peach of a coin, and while this particular variety is not rare, it's always good to see coins in this particular grade state. It's a 1995 Lincoln Memorial set that does exhibit the ever popular and famous DDO or FS101 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. You can see just a tremendous amount of doubling on the word liberty. And in the words, "In God We Trust" here, this motto features some pretty nice, healthy doubling. Even in this condition, it's, still worth some money. So many of these were produced in 1995. And some would speculate that over 100,000 pieces were produced of this particular variety. So it's not rare. And if you were able to find one in this condition, this particular example sold for $42.50. The good news is, if you're on the East Coast, these are still out there in circulation by a huge margin. Here's our other piece of currency. I think we have maybe one more on the lot or on the list. But we have a 1977 $5 Federal Reserve note. You can see it's got some sort of like insufficient inking areas on the front of the note. You can even see little bits and pieces here. So this is just an under inking of the first print of this note. While it looks and appears relatively minor, and you would be surprised how many of these minor errors kind of go through unchecked by people who don't normally collect coins or currency. This one right here does carry a good deal of value. This is actually a little bit tougher to find than the previous $5 error that we saw a few minutes ago, that wet ink transfer. You just don't see a lot of insufficient inking type of errors. And you can actually find them on the much newer notes as well. This one sold for $62.95. So make sure you're looking for errors that look like this. As you can see on the back, we do have a little bit of wear, that's what this is, some smudging, some dirt. But the back of the note looks pretty good. There's nothing to note here. All right, our subject coin of the week. All right, I've actually had a few folks reach out and say that they found something that looks similar to this. Do I have exactly what I think it is? And normally, people would kind of come across a coin like this and not think anything of it. Like, oh, yeah, someone acid dipped this. It's damaged. We've probably all had that kind of perception on coins like this at one point or another, when we were less educated about what it could be. But what we have here is an undated Roosevelt dime that was struck through a late stage die cap. And the reason why I say it's late stage is you're beginning to see some of the features of the actual coin in question on that die. the die cap had thinned out by quite a bit, where you could actually see some punch through of the words like Liberty. You could see like maybe pieces of the date, even though we can't really discern what that date is. We do know it's a copper nickel clad coin. But yes, when you see coins like this where one whole side of the coin is illegible, you really can't tell what's on there, be sure to pull it out, because I think you'll have something that's really spicy on the error coin front. This one right here is sold for $32.96. As you can see, it carries a lot of value to error collectors that like this sort of thing. The next one that we have here, oh thank heaven, 2020 was a year of just boo-boos and errors. And here's another one right here, this time on a Roosevelt dime. So a lot of the publicity of these quality control issues of 2020, mostly because of the pandemic and just the lack of coinage. So the U.S. Mint had to, ratchet up the production by a good deal. Of course, quality kind of got sacrificed in the mix, but this one right here has an apparent strike through, not only right here that goes through the olive branch or whatever, but you also have these feeder finger scrapes that go parallel left to right here behind the devices. So those feeder finger scrapes are on the very top of the devices of that die, which will translate to the deepest recesses of the design once transferred on the strike of a coin. But this one right here, pretty neat. 2020 boo-boos and QC failures are still out there to be found. This one, to give you an example, well, this one is a heartbreaker. It's only sold for $1.76. Now, what does that mean? It means, well, it didn't realize its full potential, number one. Number two, the pictures were not that good. If there were close-ups of the anomaly on this coin, that would certainly have helped. But yeah, there was a lot left to be desired from this particular listing, and this is a coin that probably should have sold for $10. So someone did recognize it for what it is, probably picked it up, noticed that the pictures were all too kind of like the white balance is way off on this one. But pretty cool. This could very well be someone's addition for, just the crap quality that you saw in 2020. And you don't see them that much on dimes. So that's also another thing to take into consideration when you're finding these, is you just don't see too many 2020 dimes with strike throughs and all sorts of weirdness going on. All right, so here's the first lot right here. Probably the least stimulating lot to purchase if you're looking to flip each coin individually on eBay. But we have a 2-coin lot of off-center coins. You have a 1987 and also a year 2000, which is a very common date for this type of error. But the 2000 looks like it's off-center by about 20%, maybe 15, 20, somewhere there. And the 87 is relatively minor. It might even be a broad strike because you kind of have a little bit of a rim. Actually, it's cut off a little bit, so yeah, it's probably off-center by about 5%. Collectively, the coins look to be in pretty good shape. The 2000 Lincoln has a few little carbon spots, which to some people who are sticklers at condition, this is a coin right here that probably is not incredibly desirable because it is a common date. But collectively, it did sell for $16. You probably heard my dog in the background, but she was excited about talking about coins too, I guess. I don't know. The next coin we have here, this is a funny one. This person actually sold a few coins. A couple actually relevant coins, but I only wanted to talk about this one. And I don't know, the overall picture taking and the display is just weird. I don't know what this piece of wood is. I don't know if it's like a clamp or something to hold the coin for the photography, but this is a bad idea. If you're looking to make a huge kind of impact on your images, don't obscure your coin with things like this. Plus it could damage the coin. But we have a 1920 Lincoln wheat cent with a little bit of a cut. So seldom do we find cuts on much earlier Lincoln cents. That finding something like this is a delight, and it shows. This one right here, a best offer was accepted. The original ask price was $40. So if this sold for $30, that wouldn't be weird at all. only because it's a very early date of Lincoln, and you just don't, again, you don't see cuds and that sort of thing on the much older coins. I think anything pre-1940, cud-wise, is very desirable to collectors of this type of era. Now, this is not a spectacular nickel, but this is kind of like a microcosm of a lot of the Buffalo nickels that's seen out there. It's a 36D, very common date, but as you can see on the reverse, we have some lamination issues going on. The Buffalo nickel series, along with a few other series of U.S. coinage, has been plagued with annealing issues. So you see this phenomenon quite often on Buffalo nickels. But this is a coin routinely that would sell for about 50 cents based off of condition alone. It's probably a net good. It doesn't even have any horn details here. And this one sold for $5.79. So being this is a very common error type, these laminations, you could find quite a few of these. All right, just don't peel them away or do anything crazy. You could sell them for what they are and, profit $5-10 a piece. All right, here's our next lot. This is a lot of 5 Lincoln memorials. A lot of them are off-center, and we have a 71 here, an 82 large date. This looks like an 88. This is a 90-something. The last digits obscured. And another 1990s off-center coin. So this lot right here sold for $25.45. This is one of those lots that would kind of green light the purchase at $25 because you could turn around and sell a lot of these coins for $10 and higher. I've seen it done. The 71 is very interesting. This looks like more of a possibly partial tilted collar, off center a little bit. So that one has a lot more going for it. This coin I feel like could sell for $15 to $20 on its own. But you look for stuff like this. And if you wanted to, be one of those folks that buys things like this and then re-images them, at the best quality you can and flip them on eBay, you could do really well. So there are sellers that like selling lots like this and they just don't want to deal with singular coin sales. But there are other people that will probably not mind. So yeah, $25.45 I think is a really solid sale on this lot. All right, brand spanking new 2021s are not immune to errors. Okay, the quality control snafus continue in this date. We just have some strike-through grease action on both sides of the coin. You can see it mostly apparent on the obverse where the weakness is all the way around. You also have it on the reverse as well in certain areas. So these sets of dies received a nice healthy coating of grease on there, and when the coin is struck and it has to apply all the pressure through that grease, you get this kind of phenomenon happening on the coins. This one right here sold for $10.25, so that's a really nice quick easy $10 bill for someone that likes to search and pull these out and sell them. We have a 1988 Lincoln Memorial Cent, a little bit tougher date. This one does have a full date on this off-center struck coin. It's off-center by about 15%. Pretty nice coin. I love that red background. So this only is a signature of one specific seller on eBay. This one sold for $19.45. Another 2020 coin. This time it's a Denver. All right, Denver of all mints is represented on the error coin list of 2020, but we have a Salt River Bay. And as you can see, this one is a strike through as well. The obverse is just crazy looking. Lots of detail loss on this coin. And yeah, for those of you west of the Mississippi, you have an opportunity to find stuff like this, and it's a really good catch. This one sold for $18.50. That's easy money right there. My personal favorite on the list is this 1946 Walking Liberty half dollar. This, of course, is the notable doubled die reverse. All right, this is the big one. What is it? FS 801, I believe, in the Cherry Picker's Guide. But yeah, a lot of your doubling is just insanely dramatic on this one. You got doubling of the feathers on the eagle on the reverse. You can just see that right there, even on some of the letters. But most of your big time stuff is going to be E pluribus unum. You know, you'll go blind looking at it. You have doubling of the feathers here. And all of these, all the stuff on this plant right here is all doubled and really, really funky looking. Just a beautiful coin, extremely valuable. These are commonly cherry-picked out of scrap silver lots. So if you have a bunch of walking liberties in your holdings, it probably is worth going through and kind of, just really try to cherry-pick one of these. They're not particularly rare, which is, I'm glad to say that, but they are quite valuable. This one is just in really nice condition. It's not some otherworldly mid-state condition coin. I mean, this is an honest circulated example that shows just tremendous detail of this doubling. This one sold for $111.45. So that gives you an idea of the value of this coin. Another Indian head cent. This is kind of like the scrap bin special. So if you have a dealer that sells these on the cheap, and this is a 1907. All right, so some coin dealers, they don't care about minor stuff like this, but it's good enough that some of the other folks will see it as true treasure potential. But what we have here is what appears to be a lamination. All right, based off of these images alone, or some would say that this is probably more of a bisecting die crack. You could see a little bit of the displacement right here off the rim. This one, I tried looking at it up close. It could be both, to be honest with you. But this is pretty cool. Can you imagine just cherry picking one of these out of just a bulk lot of Indian head cents at your dealer that are selling these for $1 a piece? This one sold for $33.95. For all you Canadian cent collectors north of the border, or even south of the border, I found a few of these Canadian coins before, but this is a delamination on this 1952 George V, or 6th, rather, George the 6th, early Canadian penny, pretty nice, and again, Canadian errors, on the minor side or major side are all... they all have a dedicated fan base, and because of that, the prices are generally strong for these. This one sold for $22.43, which is about double what a Lincoln cent lamination would go for, just based off of that. All right, we have a few lots. The next, 4 or 5 picture sets are all lots of coins that have sold by the same seller. So check this one out. You have a lot of very nice kind of like red, brown, and red mid-state Lincoln cents. And they're all Lincoln Memorials from like 59 to 75. They all have curved clip errors on every single coin. Here's the crazy part. This is a lot of 25 that's sold for $59. That comes out to roughly $2 a piece. So normally, you would look through this, obviously, and see that this 71 right here, with this bigger clip, that alone will sell for about $10-15 right there. And then all the other ones, just say you would sell those for about $5 a pop. And there might even be like a tough date in there that'll command a little bit more money. Here's the 1960 with a nice size clip on there. That's probably a $10 bill. But you recognize stuff like this and you start to do the numbers in your head, and then it becomes, a case where, is it worth the money to spend on this? And then you just kind of have to objectify, a specific amount of money that is suitable with you. $59 a pop, at just over $2 a coin, just seems like a steal to me. And the same goes for this one. This is a lot of 10 half dollars. I was going to say they're all silver, but that's not the case. And guess what? There's a bicentennial right there at the bottom. Again, these are all curved, clipped errors. All right, you can see them, the Walking Liberty. You can see it right here next to the L in Liberty. This one's right here. All the other ones are pretty easy to see. Yeah, the 84 is at the 6 o'clock, and then 73 here. This 94 right here, it's actually going to be right over the T and Liberty. That's a very shallow clip. That one's probably not worth a whole lot, but the price of the lot is $140.50. All right, so again, do your homework. It's $14 a coin. Do your research. How much do these sell individually? And then kind of, just make the plan of spending a certain amount of money. This one is close. I don't think the true profit potential is quite there in this lot, only because $14 per coin just seems like a lot. And the clipped pieces on here aren't too dramatic. They're not crazy. There's no double clips or triple clips to see here. So this one right here, probably that money's maxed out. If you're lucky enough to get $20 per coin, it's a rather small amount of profit. Here's also 20 Washington quarters, and we also have some statehoods in there as well. This one is actually pretty neat. I like this one. You have one silver, it looks like, this 43. This 73, I believe, has a double clip. But, all in all, this is a quite mystifying lot right here. This lot of 20 sold for $135.50, which gives it a per piece value of roughly $6.85, somewhere around there. So there are a few coins that I think that you will be easily able to double or even triple your money. The 53 right here is pretty nice. This double clip right here will certainly give you quite a bit of value back. And then, some of the newer coins, you just don't see these type of errors on statehood quarters or ATBs. So here's one right here, Harper's Ferry, with a nice clip on there. That's a $10 bill right there for that coin. Again, do your homework, but this is another one that's sold for a pretty decent amount of money, $135. And there's the reverse photo of all the backs of the coins. We also have nickels represented. We have a lot of 20 here, and this one sold for $93.75. Not my personal favorite. We are talking about a per piece average of what is it? $4.65 or something like there. Again, a lot of the value in this lot obviously would have to go to the older coins that you see here. This Buffalo nickel has a double clip, so that's an extra added bonus. It's 35. The two Liberty heads are not great. This one right here is interesting because it has a full Liberty right on its crown, on Liberty's crown. But this one right here, you're not going to make a ton of money. Not my personal favorite listing out of the bunch. Again, for a lot of the same reasons as the $50 one, but there is even a couple of wartime silvers. So if you did look through this and you assess things, you'll see that, and maybe that might push you over the edge. I'm not sure. But, you have to be really in tune with the market and how much some of these sell for in order to come up with a reasonable figure to buy at. All right, back to the singular coin listings. We actually have a pretty neat one here. This is a 1927S Standing Liberty quarter with a delamination on the reverse right here. This is quite a deep chunk, actually, that had fallen off at one point. This is kind of like a scrap silver face type of, find right here, even though it is a little bit tougher date and mint. When it gets to be this condition, at the better, it's worth maybe tops $10. But because of this big, huge thing right here, that kind of changes the game a little bit in a pretty big way. How about 5X? This one sold for $51. So there you go. Not a bad cherry pick. Now, this is the coolest coin, I think. The 46 Walker was pretty nice, but those things, I'm not going to say they grow on trees, but You see quite a few of those out in the marketplace. But here's one that I think is underrated by a huge margin. Well, Roosevelt's in general as a series is very underrated, but if you're looking to really search something that is kind of like on the back nine, I guess, of interest for the community, Roosevelt dimes, and specifically the silvers. We have a 1946D with just an overall insane double die obverse, as you can see here. The date, the initials for John Sinek, and the motto, "In God We Trust." You can just see the doubling. This is just a pretty coin. And through 22 bids, it sold for $76.99. Where some will say, well, I pulled this out of my scrap silver pile, my stack, and found it, and, would you rather have a $2 coin at that point or something that's worth many times more than that? I think I would gladly take the $76 all day long. Let's see, we got Lincoln Cent, this time a Steely. Look at that. It's got a really nice size cut on the obverse there, right at the bust, base of the bust of Lincoln. 43S. And you do see these. You also see retained cuts with, various degrees of displacement, but this one's a full-blown cut here on the obverse, as you can see. Pretty nice. And this one realized 3 Andrew Jacksons, $60, ladies and gentlemen. Not bad. The coin does look and appear it was cleaned at one point. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with one more piece of currency. And this is going to be more of, I'm looking for your guys' opinion. All right, because you don't see these that often, but we have a 1995. So this is the last year of that small head design on these U.S. notes. And this one right here is a $5 bill, Federal Reserve note. The front of the note looks completely normal, but when you look at the back, it's got a wet ink transfer of the third print on the back of the note. And what's crazy is just how strong the inks are on it. Now, if we went back to the previous image, you'll notice that this serial number string ends in a 29. This one ends in a 30. All right, which kind of falls in line to it being a legitimate wet ink transfer. All right, so it's not an overprint issue where the third print was printed on the back like you see on some of the errors. Otherwise, the front would be completely blank of the third print, but this one still has it, but you do have it on the reverse with, and it's backwards, which is what you want to see for a wet ink transfer. And you see a certain like voids in areas where the transfer of that wet ink is a little bit light. But this is really cool. I mean, you just don't see things like this that often. This one sold for $378.45. I put in kind of like my take on it, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. It would be interesting to see this graded, just to make sure. But this is the final piece of coin currency that we're going to talk about on the PCMR. So if you guys are going to be doing some hunting this week, hopefully this video has provided some good things to consider. Hopefully it'll get your blood pumping to do some hunting this week. I'm your host Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Again, don't forget to like, share, or subscribe if you enjoyed today's content. All that extra support will mean the world to me. Finally reached 200,000 subs. Yeah, it took a while. That last 10,000 subs, man, was absolutely slow and grueling. But thank you for all the new folks out there that have joined on to this bandwagon. And I'm going to hook you guys up with more content. But that's going to go ahead and do it, Coinaholics. As always, we are discovering together each and every single day. Would love to hear your thoughts on this particular PCMR. Did you have a favorite? Would love to hear about it. You guys take care. Have a pleasant evening, great week, and I'll see you on the next video. So long.